To get to a decent level in French, by which I mean using it in conversations that go beyond the basics, you need to make practicing it a habit. The definition of a habit is something that you do with little to no conscious effort. You've done it so often that it's just become a normal activity for you. The activities I have for you in this video will allow you to practice French as part of your daily life, no matter where you are. If you've watched my videos before, then you likely have a good foundation in the French language already, and you want tips and insights into how to keep on progressing. Well, that's exactly what I've got for you today. So like the video now, and we'll get started. Allez, c'est parti! My first tip is about italki.com, who is also sponsoring this video. Now, even if they weren't sponsoring the video, I would still talk about them because it's a fantastic language learning website that I've been using since 2015, which allows us French learners to do many things. We can take lessons at home via Skype with either professional teachers or community tutors who are passionate native speakers of their language, and it often costs much less than a physical one-on-one lesson would. We can ask and answer language related questions, and also we can practice our writing, which is something I'm going to talk about in just a minute. italki is running a language challenge next month in October 2019, which is a great way to give yourself extra motivation to achieve your French learning goals. Depending on how many lessons you book and eventually take, you'll earn badges and the chance to win rewards. Click on the special link down below in the description before the end of September to find out more, to earn $10 of free italki credit when you make your first purchase, and to sign up to the challenge. Now that the obligatory sponsor message is out of the way, I can tell you all about the fantastic notebook feature on italki that I love and that allows us to practice our writing. The notebook feature is great as it lets me write to my heart's content and then have native speakers come along and correct my mistakes and also give me tips on how I could write it better, write it more like a French person, etc, etc. And then I can use those corrections and those additions as a basis for my next conversation with my speaking partner or my teacher or my tutor. It's a really fantastic way to win-win. To find the notebooks feature on italki, go to your dashboard, hover over the community link and click on notebooks. You can come over here, you can see a bunch of entries that other people have made. You can see your notebook entries and the corrections that you've given. So click on write a new notebook. Enter the title, enter the notebook entry. It's actually 2,500 characters. I was wrong about that. And you can upload a picture and choose the language, in our case French, that you're going to write it in, and click submit. That's it. And then wait for your corrections. Frankly, I think you're hindering your progress if you don't sign up to a platform like italki to practice at least your writing, because that is free to do so via the notebooks. So get on there, you won't regret it. My second point is to think in French. Now, hear me out before you start rolling your eyes. Remember what I said earlier about the importance of making practicing French a habit, something that you do unconsciously. Well, a good way to get to that point is to think in French during your everyday activities. Take those often useless thoughts that are just running through your mind whilst you're doing other things and turn it into focused thought on the activity that you're doing, but just use French words, as many or as little as you know, whilst you're doing so. Depending on your level, you might either still be very much structuring your sentences in your native languages and translating them, or you might be further advanced and you simply lack specific vocabulary for those specific activities. Either way, thinking in French will show you your gaps.
Moi, je n'ai pas de... Oh, comment dire gaps?
So you'll know where you need to improve, and at the very least it will make you laugh at the French accent that you do when no one else can hear you.
Nobody can hear me when I speak English with a French accent like this.
I could be thinking about boiling water on the hob or the stove and start thinking about the process in French.
Ok, j'ai rempli la casserole. Comment dire press? Voilà, bah, je vais toucher ça pour allumer les plaques. Ensuite, je vais toucher ça pour mettre la température.
Or I decide to run a bath.
Est-ce que c'est un tapis? Tapis de salle de bain? Bref. Là, pour l'instant, c'est un tapis. Et ensuite, je vais ouvrir le robinet.
This works whatever level you're at. If you're at a lower level, then you're probably focusing on just naming the items that are involved. And if you're at an advanced level, you're trying to think of different ways to say the same thing and also practice the structure of your sentences to make them be as French as possible. It will feel weird, but weirdly awesome, and that's how you'll know you're making progress. Many of us now have smart assistants in our home that we can control with our voices. I have a Google Home, and some of you may have an Alexa. Why they've made it to this list though is because you can set them to French, which is amazing news for us French learners. They're still developing, but they're still amazingly powerful and capable of recognizing phrases that may not be 100% grammatically correct. However, if they don't understand you, it will just force you to work on your pronunciation and the grammar and get it right. I have it connected to my lights here in the studio. I have the two behind me and I have one above me here. So I can say something like, "Hey Google, éteins les lumières." And the lights go off. Ou je peux dire, "Ok Google, rends les lumières violettes." And the lights turn purple. And looking up the list of voice commands I can use with my smart light bulbs and Google Home, I see that the grammatically correct verb that they want you to use is tourner, tourner. I've been using rendre, but just like a French person would, they figure out what it is you mean. And besides, it may even still be grammatically correct to use rendre. I'm not sure on that one. If you're not sure why I'm using rendre instead of something like faire to say make the lights a certain color, then you can check out my video that I've already done on rendre and faire, either by clicking the link in the top right hand corner of this video or watch it when you're done here by clicking the link down in the description. It's super useful in helping us avoid a key mistake a lot of us make in French, so make sure you don't miss it. If it doesn't understand you, it'll tell you. Hey Google, tourne les lumières cyan.
Excusez-moi, je n'ai pas compris.
I've also got it set up to play my music for me. I can say something like, "Hey Google, joue du Georges Brassens."
Ça marche. Voici Georges Brassens sur Spotify.
Et voilà. Okay Google, stop. I can do things like change the volume with either a logical verb like changer, which it will understand, but again I can see from the official documentation that régler is the best verb to use. Régler means to regulate in English if we look it up without context. By the way, there are links to these official commands that I found down in the description below. The one thing you have to make sure you pronounce perfectly is the trigger command to get it to wake up in the correct language. If you pronounce it too much in an English or Anglophone accent, it's gonna interpret what you say as English. So you've got to make sure you get the OK Google or the Hey Google correct in as Frenchy accent as possible. Or she starts talking to you again. Hey Google, stop. But certainly please don't fall too much in love with it and don't replace your friends with it. I take no responsibility for that. Make sure you get out and go to language exchanges with real people if you can, as often as possible. We should always be reading things in a level of French that is slightly higher than where we're at today, so that we're always challenging ourselves and it's always going to give us the best chances of improvement. A great way to do this whilst also practicing something that you have to do every day anyway is to cook dinner whilst following a recipe that's in French. Combine this with thinking in French and then you're reading and producing the language at the same time. Again, if you make this a habit, your world will become more and more French over the following weeks and months. Another great way to make French a part of your everyday life is to turn your phone to French. Now, don't be scared. You're not going to lose your way around your phone because things are in a different language. Most of the time, 99% of the things that you do on your phone are internalized. They're automatic. You don't read the name of apps. You don't read the name of settings. You just know where they are and you tap them. Well, having them in French means that every so often you may stop for half a second or even a full second and just read what it's called in French, and you go, oh, that's useful. And 9 times out of 10, you probably forget what it is and you'll have to see it 10 times. But the thing is, because your phone is in French 100% of the time, you will come across it again, and because it's foreign, it will draw your eye to it. Like I say, if you don't like it, you can change it back. But remember, the more uncomfortable you get, the faster you're going to learn. That's all I've got for you today in this video, guys. I hope you've learned some key activities that you can perform in order to practice French from home. Go ahead and watch some more videos on my channel by clicking either ici or là. Subscribe if you haven't already by clicking on my face over here or the big red subscribe button down below. Remember, don't replace your friends with a smart assistant. And until next time, merci beaucoup d'avoir regardé. À la prochaine. Ciao.